Alright guys, what is going on? Match reaction. Brighton 3, Spurs 2, and Brighton win a 5-goal thriller. Whew. What a second half by Brighton that was. Seriously, 2-0 down at half-time, Brighton. In my opinion, in the watch-along, I was saying it's over. I can't see Brighton getting back into this game. And then they got that early second half goal, and then something just happened. The turnaround happened. Spurs bottling things as usual. Very Spursy. That is the phrase used, isn't it? But what a win for Brighton. What a win. That win for Brighton, honestly, is going to do that team so much confidence. Because I thought they were down and out, Brighton. The amount of space they were leaving in that first half, Brighton, was crazy. Spurs should have won that game in the first half. Granted, they should have done, Spurs. And them missed chances have come back to bite them. And Ange Postecoglou will be absolutely fuming. Because he will know that the amount of space and opportunity Spurs had in that first half, they should have taken them. And the game would have been out of sight. But take nothing away from Brighton. Last week, they got battered by Chelsea. They've come back here today, 2-0 down. Many people probably thinking it's going to be an easy Spurs victory with the way the first half went. But to come back and win 3-2, it's unbelievable from Brighton. And yeah, that win is going to do them so much confidence going on into future games. And also for the young Brighton manager, he was brave today, I think, the Brighton manager, because, in the first half, they got stretched, Brighton, a lot. Kulusevski, for me, was the main danger man for Spurs. He was picking up the spaces, running in behind. Spurs should have scored within the first minute of the game. If it's a better pass by Werner, Brennan Johnson's got a tap in. But again, Brighton were very shaky defensively in that first half. And I think that is something that the manager needs to look at, because last week against Chelsea, the amount of defensive mistakes they made, losing the ball, it was that fault again today. Like, you could see it again today. And, I think Brighton will get criticised from that performance, especially the first half. But second half, they were unbelievable. I felt like when Brighton, got that early goal in the second half, Spurs were going to be in trouble. And, I could kind of sense something was going to happen. I said the next goal in this game, if there was to be one, is going to be absolutely crucial. Brighton got the next goal, and they just turned the head on its game completely. But yeah, let's talk about the goals, because there is a lot of them. So Spurs take a 1-0 lead inside the 23rd minute. Brennan Johnson with the goal. And if you watched the Chelsea game last week, this is the kind of goals they were conceding. Baleba, I believe, loses the ball in the midfield to James Maddison. He then plays the pass to Dominic Solanke. And then it's a wonderful ball by Solanke. Really good, smart run by Brennan Johnson off the defender. And, with the form and, with the confident Brennan Johnson's in at the minute, he was never going to miss. Hits it first time, pass for Bruggen. 6 games, 6 goals now for Brennan Johnson in the form of his life. And he is the danger man for Spurs at the minute. Obviously no Son. So I think Brennan Johnson is who Spurs are looking to at the minute. And, 6 games, 6 goals all in a row. He's on fire. 1-0 Spurs. And then 14 minutes later, it was 2-0 to Spurs. James Maddison with the goal this time. And, Brighton again, all over the place defensively. He gets stretched, ball comes out wide to Timo Werner. He then just knocks it back to James Maddison. He takes a touch and puts it into the back of the net. I think Verbruggen should save it. I think it should be a save, let's be honest. He gets both hands onto it. He should be pushing it away round the post, but breadstick wrists. And it finds the back of the net. Spurs 2-0 up. And at this point, Spurs were cruising. Brighton were not a threat at all. You know, Spurs cruised that first half, and it should have been more than 2. And that's why I think Postecoglou will be fuming, because they have the chances, Spurs. So 2-0 to Spurs at half-time. Second half happens. 3 minutes into the second half, Brighton make it 2-1. And out of nowhere, we've got a game on our hands. Really nice play by, I think it's Estepinian, who came on as a half-time substitution for Brighton, who was really impressive, actually, Estepinian, in that second half. I think he's a big reason why Brighton actually won. He feeds it, I think, to Mitoma. Mitoma's down the left-hand side, gets in the cross first time. No messing about by Mitoma. Gets it in first time, gets it in early. Van de Ven misses the ball, just hits the doggy, forced to Minter, who volleys it past Vicario, and all of a sudden you think, oh no, here we go again for Spurs fans. And then that's exactly what happened. 10 minutes later, it's 2-2. Ruta equalises for Brighton. Again, Estepinian again at the heart of it. Plays a lovely ball into, I can't remember who it is. It might have been Welbeck or Mitoma again. I can't remember. I think it was Welbeck. He then slides it through to Ruta. And he just gets the space ahead of Van de Ven. Ruta shifts it to the left-hand side. And it's a wonderful finish into the bottom right-hand corner by Ruta. He just got that yard on Van de Ven, which gave him the space to take the shot. And it's a wonderful finish by Ruta. 2-2 out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. You know, who would have thought this would have happened? And then 8 minutes later, in the 66th minute, so Brighton, 3 goals in, well, how do we work this out? So 12 plus 6. 3 goals in 18 minutes for Brighton. 66th minute, Danny Welbeck with the header, unmarked, throw into Brighton. Hinshelwood throws it to Ruta. He gets a little bit lucky, Ruta, with the way the ball bounces for him, but he's then got to slide to get in the cross ahead of Bentancur. He gets to the ball just ahead of Bentancur, and it's a wonderful cross by Ruta from sliding. And Danny Welbeck's unmarked, heads it into an empty net, and Brighton are 3-2 up out of nothing, out of nowhere. And that is how it finished. 3-2 to Brighton. What a game. 5-goal thriller. What a performance in the second half of Brighton. You know, I thought Spurs in the first half were very impressive as well. You know, it was literally a story of like halves, really. Like, first half, Spurs were very good. Second half, they were terrible. First half, Brighton were poor. Second half, Brighton were amazing. It's crazy how football works like that, but what a victory for Brighton. For Spurs, though, back to the drawing board. You know, you can't be losing them games, in my opinion. You know, yes, I know you're away from home. 2-0 up's a dangerous scoreline. I understand all of that, but they were in control of this game, Spurs. They were in control at half-time. And yeah, they bottled it, really, didn't they? They just collapsed in the second half. But guys, let me know in the comments what you thought of the match. Please like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and I'll catch you later.